So she says, it was just now you get a good story and some coin to go back. This is literally one of the best quests that I've ever done in the Elder Scrolls Online. Now the whole thing about Meridia and this purity and this aspect of the dawn, and the thing about ESO's quests and side quests is that sometimes they go into very deep human conflicts. And as I said, all of these lores, and especially in the Elder Scrolls, it all has to do with that. Now, the theme here is this order, which is extremely devoted to Meridia, and you see her dissolution as she starts to understand that maybe Meridia is an evil goddess, a goddess which demands worship, and it's about losing your religion, like that old song goes. The internal conflict of losing your religion, of knowing that Santa Claus is not real, or maybe it's not a good thing, and maybe, for example, Christianity might be a negative thing. It's a really human thing. But now going into the whole thing about taking it beyond the lore. Now I don't know if it's part. Absolutely fantastic. So I'm just gonna take a little bit beyond the lore here, see if I can make a video out of this whole thing. Meridia, why is it important that she is not a righteous goddess and she's not an evil goddess? We don't know what she is. If you take it beyond the lore, you find out, as I said, there's this whole thing in transcendental experiences. If you go into the research on Manichaeanism, which is the actual religion of light, there was actually a dude who said that he met an angel. And this angel told him that we all have particles of light within us, and these particles of light, which are divine in essence, they become trapped in the material world. They become trapped in the 3D world. And now if you go deeper into quantum physics, you realize that at the core, what we are as human beings is basically bits of information, of quantum information, which at the end, it's particles of light, it's photons, and you go into the double slit experiment, so on and so forth. If you Google the whole quantum thing, so everything, all of the research that I've done now, because I know that if some people catch my videos and listen to me ranting and going into all of these tangents, they say, oh, this guy is just crazy and it's just a bunch of bullshit that he's coming forward with. Every single thing that I say, I back it up with science. I've done a lot of research into the science behind all of these things, including the altered states of consciousness and so on and so forth. And I came to map out a larger story, as I said. There is the third dimension, the fourth dimension, and higher. So we live the third dimension in the world of material, in the world of the physical. Now the fourth dimension is a little bit less material. It's where we go when we go to sleep. It's the world of dreams. The ancient Tibetan Buddhists called it the bardos. So there were different bardos. There was the bardo of death, there was the bardo of dreams, and there were some others, but mainly those are the ones. So now the whole thing in the lore of the Elder Scrolls is that you have these Daedric gods, which are not very imperfect, which are in a way very human, very flawed. And then you have the Aedra, which were the higher gods. You don't see them because they're not even in close contact to you. They're in such a higher realm. And in a sense, they gave themselves to create Nier, to create Mundus. And this is the whole idea that in the world of Tamriel, in the reality that we inhabit in the Elder Scrolls, we carry with ourselves the Aedra, the gods, and this is very clear in Oblivion. And like when you finish the main storyline in Oblivion, this whole idea of Martin becoming Akatosh is part of that, part of this inner divinity, the kingdom inside you, and we will all be like the prophet. We will all be these. We will all realize this divinity within us. So now, the whole thing about Meridia and these Daedric gods and goddesses, which we don't know if they are positive or negative. As I said, in transcendental experiences, when people meet these beings of light, in a lot of the experiences, people are not very sure if these are positive or negative beings. The whole story leads to the idea that we might be in what they call a quote unquote prison planet, or some sort of a school where we come into the material world to learn lessons and to understand divinity in a sense. But another theory suggests that we're not really learning anything. We're just trapped here. We're just trying to find this deeper sense of divinity. And I think the Elder Scrolls lore does a great job into bringing this forward, as this character here loses her religion, full devotion in Meridia, but actually Meridia was controlling her. So there's this whole deeper philosophy of whether who is righteous, who isn't, what are we doing here, what are we doing in Mundus, can we trust the Daedra, can we trust the god, can we trust them or not, what goes beyond. It is very, very interesting. Now, just to close it, because I don't really know how to, I just go on tangents and rants. I don't do that. I do this to chill, because the real research that I do is a different thing. The one thing that I will say, if anybody catches this video, go into a book called The Sophia of Jesus Christ. And this is a Gnostic book where it talks about the prophet of Christianity. I don't care if you think of it as religion, as a real thing. If you're an atheist and you think it's not real, that's completely fine. It's just mythology. Let's just think of it as mythology. Now, in that book, it speaks of this savior. So this prophet of Christianity, as I said, even in the canonical Gospels, through the Transfiguration, it became pure light. This is in the canonical Gospels. Now, the thing about the Gnostic Gospels is that they were banned because they were too extreme, and people thought this is a bunch of nonsense, this is a bunch of BS, this cannot be real, this is even heretic, so they banned them. But in that book, The Sophia of Jesus Christ, this transfiguration goes even further, and it tells the story that when this prophet of Christianity was resurrected, he wasn't resurrected in the flesh. He was resurrected as a being of light, which presented himself to the disciples in Mount Zion, or whatever the mount was. And he told them a very different story about the ultimate reality. Now, the first time that I learned about Pistis Sophia is another one, but the Sophia of Jesus Christ, the first time that I read it, I thought it was a bunch of nonsense, because it talks about reincarnation and how we were in a perfect realm of light in the heavens, and we came down and became entrapped into the material world, which is the same thing that angel told to Mani, the prophet of Manichaeanism. Now Google it. There was a big chance that instead of most of the population of the world becoming Christian, we would have been Manichaean, but there were efforts to delete that whole religion from the face of the earth. But anyway, this story at first, I thought it was a bunch of nonsense and a bunch of BS. But when I kept on doing my research, and you just tag all of the stories, they are all saying the same thing. And
someone arrives.
It is this larger story
exchange,
that...
I request assistance.
Yeah, hold on. I'm going on a tangent here. So the deeper story is that there is a perfect realm of light. And now go on Google in Nordic mythology. Don't Google Valhalla. You think of Skyrim and Sovngarde, and you think that Sovngarde and Valhalla is the heaven of the Vikings. Go on Google Gimli and the High Elves, the real story of the High Elves in Nordic mythology. You find out that it's the same thing as in Christianity and in the Gnostic themes. And it has to do with light, and it has to do with a perfect realm in the heavens. So basically, when you put all of this together, the whole idea is that we used to exist in the perfect realm of light as beings of light, as particles of light, which I don't know if it was a prison planet, I don't know if it was the fallen angels, I don't know if whatever it was, we came down into the world of matter and we became, quote unquote, entrapped into it. And when you go into all of the religions, and as I've been going through the lores in video games and even some movies and some of the largest lores out there, every single story is coming back to this. So this is why I get so excited when I see all of these themes going back and forward. I hope that one day I get a chance to really go deeper into the lore and make a cohesive argument out of all of this. Because right now I just start streaming and I just random and I might make a short here and there. But it's just, I find it to be such a beautiful thing. So when I find games like The Elder Scrolls Online and The Elder Scrolls in general, which take their lore seriously, it's really a thing to ponder upon and to bring forward, I believe. Anyway, I hope they go deeper into Meridia and her mysteries in this patch. This is definitely my favorite ESO expansion, 100% for sure. But anyway, that's enough for tonight. If anybody's watching this, thank you so much for watching. Maybe I'll see you in the next one.